up, you guys? This is Rob from Gay Guy Plays, and today on another installment of Rob Reads You Shit That You Don't Want to Have to Read Yourself, we're going to be taking a gander over at the newest dev workshop, which contains a lot of buffs and nerfs and changes, all of the really great things, including the Zephyr rework, the Atlas. I kind of almost want to say rework because there's a lot that goes into it, as well as a couple interesting tidbits here and there. Now, do keep in mind, this was a doc that was provided to me by DE a little bit early, so that I could go ahead and record it. It might not be the finalized version, but legitimately, there's like less than an hour between this and the doc that's going to come up. I'll go ahead and post any kind of edits down in the comment section in a pinned comment, just in case something does come up, but literally there's like not that much time. So let's go ahead and jump into this. A lot of this I've kind of glazed over. I haven't actually seen the exact things, so we're gonna talk, and of course I can't kind of like post this document up yet, so y'all just gonna have to bear with me. So, Hail Tenno, with big plans for 2018, it seemed like an appropriate time to revisit a core element of Warframe, the Warframes themselves. We spent most of January reading your feedback and analyzing gameplay stats. As February kicks off, we have some plans to share. Each Warframe stats and ability kits combine into a unique entity that offers different strengths and weaknesses. With 34 Warframes to choose from, and the 35th on the way, a Tenno may find that there is no challenge they cannot overcome by making good use of the Swiss Army knife that is their arsenal offers. Some well-rounded frames do multiple things well, while others greatly excel in specific circumstances. When reviewing the arsenal over time, our developers often find themselves asking, is this fun? That's the most important question to us. From the perspective of both the active player and their 3 squad mates, we understand the importance of power fantasy, but overbearing abilities can make squad mates feel ineffective by seriously disrupting intended gameplay flow. Conversely, when a Warframe doesn't do enough, players may simply choose a quote-unquote better frame, sacrificing personalization and diversity for efficiency. Neither of these situations are ideal, so let's shake things up. Everything you're about to read is subject to change in response to statistics and higher feedback. We are planning the following adjustments to Warframe abilities and augments appearing in alphabetical order. So that is definitely a big key thing here that I want you guys to make note of, is the fact that this is all subject to change and that you guys do have the ability to influence it by going into the forums and leaving your feelings there. Like I've always said, it's great that you guys love to post like paragraph after paragraph here. It ain't gonna help. It ain't gonna help here. Go to the forums, leave it there. You know, leave me a cute like 2 to 3 sentence like comment, but you don't need to go into paragraph form. And please don't copy and paste your shit. I feel bad when y'all copy and paste your comments, okay? I'm like, you couldn't come up with something original for me? Get out of here. So we're gonna go ahead and start with Ash. Bladestorm. Upon activating Bladestorm, Ash's clones will do the stabbing, leaving the player free to act. Ash can choose to join in the execution by using teleport on a marked enemy. As one of the 3 quote-unquote stealth frames that offer invisibility, Ash serves a more offensive alternative to Avara and Loki. In practice, his Bladestorm ultimate falls short of those expectations, although the ability is sufficiently lethal. Players would be locked into cutscenes as Ash and his clones finish the job of marked targets. With the above changes, the Ash player can continue moving and shooting after activating Bladestorm, while his clones do the dirty work. Plus, an added feature, if a player wants to take advantage of the invincibility offered by the cutscenes, or just thinks they look cool, they can use teleport on a marked target after activating Bladestorm to join in on the stabbing fun. Now, you guys already kind of know that my reaction to this was that I think that this is a great change. This will also give Ash the opportunity to deal damage while his clones are dealing damage. So he's got his ultimate going, but he's also got, you know, his weapon abilities going. Now, the cool counterpoint to this that I think is kind of balances things out, because it's a powerful ability if you think about that. Ash can like, let's talk about this. Ash can condition overload with a weapon while all of his like little clones are applying slash procs. So that's one condition that he's applying, and he can go ahead and mod his weapons out to apply another condition, right? But the kind of payoff on this is he has to mark enemies, which cost energy. I feel like there's a lot of people who have gripes like, oh, but it costs too much energy. Not if you build it right. It really doesn't. Like, my build only uses 3 energy when you're invis, and most of the time you're going to be invis anyway, so that's 3 per mark. I don't think that that is the biggest deal, especially if you're just trying to apply the slash proc. So I think it's a good trade-off. you get more mobility, you get to be able to use your own, weapons, and you still have to pay for it by using the mark system. I think that's a fair trade-off. So we're going to go ahead and move into Atlas, who got major changes. As you guys know, Rubble is the new mechanic. It comes from killing petrified enemies. Atlas collects Rubble to restore his health or temporarily increase armor if already at max health. Oh, that's the catch. It's temporarily increase armor if already at max health. Now the question is, what's the timers going to look like for that? Is it like temporarily like 10 seconds? Is it temporarily like 30 seconds? Like, is it affected by duration? We need to know this. Landslide does bonus damage on petrified enemies. Killing petrified enemies with Landslide generates bonus Rubble. We also have increased the contact radius at max rank from 1.5 meters to 2 meters. Okay, so we just got a straight up buff. Creates bonus Rubble, deals more damage to petrified enemies, and has a larger radius. Fantastic. Petrify. You can use Petrify on tectonic bulwarks to increase rolling velocity and damage. Can also be cast on rumblers to heal them. Able to cast an ability while Petrify is active. Use Landslide to move between enemies or erect rumblers and bulwarks without Petrify ever turning off. Petrifying speed is also more effective at longer ranges now. Awesome. So another buff there. Rumblers, while casting, creates an AoE around Atlas that will petrify any enemy that comes close. Rumblers create Rubble when they expire based on how much health they had. Ooh, so you could potentially start a Rumbler, go ahead and explode the Rumbler, and if they had a lot of health, you probably get more Rubble. At least that's the way that my brain is working it out. Released in late 2015, Atlas fills the role of a beefy brawler Warframe. While his first ability, Landslide, really packs a punch, the rest of his kit falls short in comparison to other frames. We saw this reflected in Atlas's usage stats, where he was generally the least used frame that didn't have a prime variant. Similar to other reworks, we aim to give Atlas more synergy between the abilities at his disposal. Petrify is now a versatile ability that does not limit the casting of other abilities and can be used to buff bulwarks and heal rumblers. Introducing the Rubble mechanic improves Atlas's survivability while rewarding players for taking advantage of the frame's synergies. The instant AoE Petrify upon casting his rumblers ultimate also helps protect players during the cast animation. Always good. So I think it's just a bunch of positives for Atlas, which is the complete opposite. Well, not the complete opposite to the next one, but I'm excited for it. I'm going to be playing Atlas a little bit more and seeing exactly where the numbers stack up, because really for me, that armor bonus, I would like to last throughout the entire mission. That's just my feelings on it. Like, let him scale. Just let him get tankier and tankier as time goes on. But just my opinion. Alright, so we've got Banshee and the Resonating Quake Augment. Ooh. This one's actually a pretty cool one. I did notice this one, and I was like, this one is not bad, but it cuts down on the AFK farming, which I'm so happy about, because literally, if I saw a Banshee in my team, and they even made the motion to touch the ground. I don't care if they ran sonar, I don't care what they were doing, if they're sonic booming, but if you even saw them go, I was aborting that mission before their face even touched the ground. I was like, no thank you, you lazy piece of shit. I don't know who told you that that was an okay thing to do, but I don't want it in my groups. So, Resonating Quake. Upon cast, places a Quake that does not require channeling to maintain, meaning that Banshee can move freely, has a short duration, and does not move with the player, has double the range of regular Sound Quake, but does more damage near the center. So, Banshee's abilities fill both offense and support roles, offering damage boosting, crowd control, and an area of effect capabilities. But for many, her gameplay has become centralized around an augment for her ultimate, Resonating Quake. Since sound waves can hit through walls, the humongous area of effect can prevent enemies from getting anywhere near the objective, while the casting player is left with nothing to do but wait. From our own public play experiences, Resonating Quake is what, as we creators of Warframe, find to be the most unfun ability. I want to enjoy this horde shooter, but where are the hordes? Exactly. And one of my own instances with it, and this is my irritation, is that, you know, all of these Resonating Quake players are like, ooh, look at how much I'm doing. But really, like, after wave 5, all you're doing is pushing enemies out to their spawn points, and everybody's got to run around and clean up the remaining mess. So we're like waiting at the spawn points for spawns to happen, because all of these people were just sitting there AFKing. Not cool. No thank you. So instead of creating a less effective version of the same augment, Resonating Quake will now offer an alternative playstyle, providing a stationary Quake that does not restrict player movement. The augment will still lock down a very wide area, but with a limited duration and less damage on the outskirts of the Quake. It should be less effective at killing enemies your squad mates cannot yet see. The increased damage near the center will also make for a great tool of clearing an overrun objective. Effective usage will now require strategic cast timing, placement, and encouraging a more active playstyle. Okay, let's just make sure we do that. Okay. Chroma, Spectral Stream. Removed walk and speed jump restrictions. You can now freely move while this is active. Damage output is now also affected by Vex Armor's Fury bonus. Nice. Now here's the thing. We all kind of know this, and anybody who's done damage calculations, anybody who like has taken the time out to sit there, and I've said this in a previous video, is they know that the Vex Armor damage buff is busted. It was not applying the way that it should have, and he was dealing way more damage than he should have been dealing. So I was like, I knew this was coming. I said it in a video. I was like, wait for the nerf. And guess what? The nerf is here. So Vex Armor fixed a long-standing issue with number calculation being multiplicative. Boosts now apply before upgrades instead of after, making the ability consistent with all other damage boosting abilities. Overshields are now considered for Vex Armor. Awesome. Chroma's Vex Armor remains one of the top tier performing damage multipliers in game and is now an aura. What? I didn't read that part. That part I did not read. Okay. Instead of just being focused on Chroma, it can now benefit allies within range. What's the range though? Wait a second, what's the range? Oh my god! Okay, I'm having a moment. I'm kind of into it. Alright, Chroma changes fixed an issue where Chroma would deal no damage with Vex Armor active. While this may sound simple fix, it's a Chroma user. Please read on. Solving Vex Armor actually takes us back to Chroma's beginnings. On original power creation, we have some less than ideal calculation methods to create Scorn and Fury's effects. If you're an avid Chroma user, you probably know the power maximizing ability this brings. At some point in Chroma's future, we will need to revisit and use ideal methods for his abilities. We will inform you in advance when Chroma is under review, and Chroma is now under review. Chroma is a complex frame that players usually acquire further on in their Tenno journey, as referenced above. Much of that complexity stems from some questionable back-end calculations, which caused Vex Armor to calculate damage boosts after upgrades instead of before. Although the UI may indicate that the damage/armor is buffed by a few 100%, the actual buff amounts would be much higher. That's why some calculations weren't working out right. I see it. Furthermore, compound elements would effectively be multiplied twice for Fury's damage boosting, leading to some ludicrous results. Back in April 2017, extreme damage boosting was not really a problem, so we left the power as is. However, the Plains of Eidolon update marked a shift in community mindset by introducing Terror Lists, featuring multiple large health pools on each weak point. Damage boosting abilities became an important part of efficient hunting trains. While other damage boosting options require more team coordination, a single self-damaging Chroma could bypass the weak point damaging portion of the fight in an instant. At its simplest, we do not want our Eidolons one-shotted. And y'all wonder why I was so anti-Chroma in those Eidolons, because, you know, my veteran sense was tingling. I was like, something's not right here. Chroma's usage was already somewhat narrow, so we want him to remain competitive, a competitive option for terrorless damage boosting, while also improving other parts of his kit. Although the magnitude of his boost will be lowered, it will still be one of the strongest boosting abilities in game, and both damage and armor increases will now apply to teammates in nearby radius. I'm loving that. Furthermore, Spectral Stream without movement restrictions allows players to be aim gliding, fire breathing dragon they've always dreamed of. Oh my god, I'm kind of into that. We will continue to observe how these changes affect Chroma and the Terrorless Hunting Squads in the upcoming week and consider further tweaks if needed. Okay, So y'all might be sad about, you know, the fucked up calculations now being actually right. But aim gliding, fire breathing dragon kind of won it for me, as well as the aura of the armor. I'm all about it. That's a plus for me. Now we're gonna move on to Ember, and I think that this one is gonna hurt a lot of people. World on Fire. 5 seconds after casting, a percentage will begin counting up on the ability icon. As this percentage scales from 0 to 100% over 10 seconds, the ability's energy cost and damage dealt will both grow to double, while the ability radius shrinks to half. Ooh, okay. So here's the thing. I'm fine with the ability's energy cost and damage dealt both grow now to double. So, you know, you're paying more energy, but you're getting more damage. But the ability radius shrinking to half. Ooh, that just makes me like, it's like I had like a warhead or like a really sour lemon I bit into. I just puckered, my whole body puckered. I was like, ooh. Ember is the original caster frame, offering low survivability in exchange for high offense. Her ultimate, World on Fire, is unmatched in terms of widespread lethality. While many Warframes specialize in certain mission types, Ember's speciality is anything under level 30. By simply bullet jumping through levels with World on Fire active, enemies become a non-factor, making Ember a ubiquitous pick across most of the star chart. Like mobile, resonating Quake, this monopoly on kills can leave the squad mates struggling to keep up. In an attempt to see the enemy before they melt, these changes increase the lethality at higher levels while addressing the ability's huge range. World on Fire will continue working similarly to how it does now, but with changing effects over time, the gradually increasing energy cost should encourage more players to toggle the ability when needed instead of the current set it and forget it approach. Players who can afford to run the ability at max may need to get more up close and personal, but the increased damage should help Ember out against higher level enemies. World on Fire is still very capable of clearing rooms and sweeping hallways, but should now be applied more deliberately. I think that says it all. To be honest with you, Ember is one of those frames that was definitely a set it and forget it frame for me. However, I definitely want to see how this all plays out. I want to see if the timers may be affected by duration, how much range this really goes down, because I'm going to be honest with you, World on Fire was never an ability that had a ton of range to begin with. So part of me is kind of like, oh, it hurts a little bit, but you know what? It's growing pains. We all evolve or die. That's how it works. So let's move on to some happier moments with Gara. So finally, we get to see this, and I think that this was a community suggested thing because I saw this a lot in the comments. So Gara's Mass Vitrify. Wall health scales based on health and shields of enemies it glasses over. Nice! Our latest Warframe Gara is a versatile frame on the cutting glass edge with a tool for most situations. After recent changes to her Mass Vitrify, the ability is serviceable against most of the star chart, but doesn't hold up well against higher level content. While this is tough to showcase in a GIF, in practice the wall has gotten stronger because it has covered many enemies in this cast. To help the ability scale better, the health of Mass Vitrify's wall will increase based on the health and shields of the Warframes who are glassed by the ability's cast. This added incentive for letting players get close to the objective should add an interesting risk-reward element to Gara's gameplay. So I'm thinking that this is kind of like the way that you want to do it is what you'll do is, you know, as enemies get closer and you kind of like pick off some enemies, what you can do is you can shatter the glass shield, and then any other enemies that come through, you'll be able to glass them over, recast it, refresh it with all of their health pools added in. So I want to see how it is in practice. It sounds good in theory. I'm excited about it, but we'll see what happens. Because we're taking a look at another sexy buff that's going on now. We've got Mag. I'm like, Mag was good, and you making Mag better? Okay. So Mag's Polarize. Shards created by Polarize will now scale based on power strength, as well as the percentage of damage done to that specific enemy. Yes! I'm into that. So better shards. And Crush, here's a little bonus for Crush. Each stage of Crush emits a shield from Mag that restores shields to nearby allies per damage instance based on the number of enemies affected. So you get bonus shields from crushing enemies. That's right. Mag has seen many changes over Warframe's history. Her major rework in 2016 reinforced her role as a fragile crowd control caster, widening her usability across all factors. Although she performs well in the right hands, some of the synergies introduced that in that rework did not have quite the impact we wanted. Plus, as a starter frame, we want new players to feel like choosing Mag is more a viable option. Increasing the damage of shards created by Polarize should give Mag more kill power. Additionally, additional shield restore on Crush also offers a way to passively support your team while clearing crowd-controlled rooms. I like it. So it just seems like all positives for Mag. I'm really excited for her. And little bonuses for everybody. Now let's take a look at another starter frame. We've got Volts. Discharge, remove the damage cap, increase the base output from 750 to 1,200. So, y'all should already be happy about that. However, there is a trade-off. There is definitely a trade-off. So we're going to take a look at this right now. Damage and stun duration are halved for enemies further away, which is affected by mods. So you're getting more damage at the epicenter. You're getting no damage cap, but the damage is going to lessen after a certain distance away. Removing discharge damage cap has been a common request since Volt's rework in early 2016. We tried testing this version of the ability internally and decided it was too much, stunning enemies for 20+ seconds through walls and inside spawn closets, and had a seriously disruptive effect on gameplay. However, we understand why this is a common request and have done our best to make it work. Lightning strikes most fierce at the center. To accompany the damage cap removal, Discharge is now less effective at medium to long range, doing less damage and stunning for less time. The damage reduction is mostly offset by an increased base to the ability, but the reduced stun at long range should keep the mission flow in check. I agree with that. I like that because we could have ran into more issues, kind of like with the sound Quake, just locking down enemies like at spawn points, and it just makes it so that nobody can kind of like get to them unless they want to camp spawn points, which is never fun. Now we get to the juiciest bit of everything. We have Zephyr. Yes, Zephyr. We are talking Zephyr rework, baby. Some of Zephyr's abilities are cheaper to cast while airborne. Details in progress. You notice that while airborne. While airborne. You hear me? Can you hear me speaking? While airborne. Tailwind, combined into a single ability with Dive Bomb, can be cast on the ground, launching Zephyr into the air, where she then hovers in the air. Tailwind still flies in whatever direction you're looking, and Dive Bomb activates if cast while looking down. That's what we said. That's what we said, right? That's what we put out into the universe, and the universe was like, we got you, boo. I'm all about it. Okay, now we have Air Burst, a brand new ability. A new ability replacing Dive Bomb, a projectile that causes an AoE burst on contact, ragdolling enemies, can be fired into tornadoes to make them bigger. Alright? Seems kind of meh. I'm not like super ridiculously crazy over it, if I'm gonna be completely honest with you. I would have preferred a knockdown over a ragdoll, because ragdolls can get a little bit messy, but we'll provide them feedback after we've played around with it. Alright, now we've got Tornado. Now spawn where a player is aiming and can be steered. The closest tornado will move to your aim point, meaning that you can move them around. Tornado damage type is now determined by your largest amount of elemental damage absorbed instead of the last type absorbed. Tornadoes do a better job of keeping enemies captured, and shooting tornadoes will do damage to enemies trapped inside. Kind of like Hydroid's Puddle. So I'm all about it. Really excited to see how that goes. Everything seems great. Okay, well, not great. Everything seems good. We'll provide more feedback as it comes with more play and all of that kind of stuff, so we'll see exactly how that goes. So, let's see. Zephyr, the Warrior of the Skies, has seen little change since being introduced in early 2014. 4 years later, her ability kit is showing its age. Parkour 2.0 improved mobility across all Warframes, making her reduced gravity and tailwind less useful by comparison. Turbulence is constantly useful, but all other abilities leave something to be desired. To give Zephyr a new wind beneath her wings, her tailwind and dive bomb will now be the same ability, cast depending on which direction the player is looking. This makes room for her new ability, Airburst, which gives Zephyr new ways to rain death from the skies. We do not have a GIF ready for this yet, but combined with Tornado, tweaks intended to make the ability more consistent and useful. Zephyr's more well-rounded kit should help reassert her air superiority. We believe these changes make our wide Warframe roster more diverse and fun to play. We will be listening to your responses, so please keep feedback respectful and constructive. While not final, repeating that for you. What do you call this? While not final, see, I lost my place now because I'm so like focused on that. These changes will likely go out in a state very close to what is listed above. Once players have had a chance to try the changes themselves, aka don't be talking smack until you've tried it. Or don't be one of those people that tried it once in like, you know, a 5-minute survival and think you're an expert. Because some people like to do that. Some people like to think that they're like bigger than they are. But we'll rein it back. We will consider further action. Thanks, Tenno, TLDR. If you don't want to read all of this, we're doing an impromptu live stream at twitch.tv/Warframe to walk you through it live. And that's exactly why I'm pre-recording, because I'm trying to watch the live stream. So that about does it for me for now. Let me know how you guys feel about all of the changes down below. I'm really happy about Mag. I love the bonuses to Mag. I really like the direction that they're going with in Zephyr. I'm still not 100% convinced. Vol, I couldn't really care less. Gara, finally, I've been waiting. I'm not touching her. I'm not touching her until it comes through. Chroma, finally, where he belongs, but nice that he's helping out his teammates, so I'm very happy about that. Atlas, I can't wait to get my hands on well, I already have Atlas, but I can't wait to play a little Atlas live. So those are the ones that I'm the most excited about. Let me know your feelings down below, but keep them constructive. Keep them, you know, it's okay to not necessarily be happy about certain things, but you also don't need to be a little bitch. Just mama saying what I gotta say. So that about does it for me. And as always, love somebody, hurt nobody, and touch your body. I'll see you guys next time. Bye-bye.